Alright, it's Devlog Thursday. Now, this game may look pretty familiar if you've watched my devlog since the beginning, because this is the one that started it all. And on top of that, you may also notice that it is not MechaBox. Astute observation. It's because it's not. I got discouraged with MechaBox. I made one minor change after I showed it off on Devlog Thursday last week, and then showed it to a playtester, and they immediately found some bugs that I had no explanation for, and so I got really discouraged. I was thinking, well, how am I supposed to maintain the level of quality that I'm striving for, which is something that works, something that's not glitchy, not something that I have to patch together and use spaghetti code or something to even get it to work. And I thought, well, I don't think I can keep up with this level of technical challenge required to make something like this. So I thought, well, I guess it's time to shelf it. So I did, and also around that time, right after I released the devlog, I was reminiscing on Adventure World and watching the devlogs. And so that, combined with getting discouraged with MechaBox, has influenced me to start working on Adventure World again. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to take a slightly different approach, one that I will talk about after I show you some things that I did. So, after I went back to this, hold on. We need Max. He's very important. When I got back to this, he's stuck behind a tree. I decided to see, where I left off, and implemented some features that I kind of wanted before I moved forward. And one of those was this. This is the fox chase, by the way. I just skipped to it with some debug stuff, same way I got Max. So if I talk to the tree, now the camera pans to the tree that the fox is going to come out of, and it's a cutscene, so you don't have control during that, right? Oh, I was about to say, oh no, it's a glitch, but that's not the tree he went into. Nope, okay, you don't have control. That's something I honestly should have checked before I did this. But anyway, so yeah, camera pans now. That's a cool thing. Which tree did he go to? That one. And yeah, I'll just demonstrate capturing him again. And I'm gonna... Can I skip the fox battle? I think I can. What if I just press 4? Did that work? It did, okay. So yeah, this is after the fox battle. This is another thing I did. There's a conversation with the fox after you defeat him, and I'll summarize it by saying he wants a new potion because that potion that he had was really valuable, and in order to be able to get a new potion, you'll have to find the ingredients for it, and they're in really strange places that are hard to get to, and it's going to be a challenge. And they agree, but Max can't help Molly because he has to go back and tend to his shop where he currently is, and that's another thing that I worked on. I made the interior look a little better, at least I think. I don't know, it's less bland than it was, but I'll just have to think about it, but that's not my main priority. Anyway, another thing I did, if I just go all the way over here, is I updated the dialogue system to have some new features. Specifically, if we talk to Mouse... he's asked us a question right here. Would you like my help? And this is on our adventure. And there are actually choices that you can make in dialogue. This was already a thing that kind of existed, like whenever you talk to Max when he's, as part of your party, you could tell him to either, tell him never mind or tell him something to do. That was the basis of this system, but I actually fleshed it out so that it's actually way more robust. There are cues within dialogue. You can have certain, in place of certain lines, you could have a cue to the director to make something happen, specifically within the conversation after the fox battle that we saw. We saw Max come in from the right of the screen. That was triggered by a conversation cue. And, well, with this new dialogue branching system, I can have cues that are specifically triggered by certain conversation paths now, and actually have conversation paths where there's different dialogue that's blocked off, unless you select specific options. So it's like a form of like control flow. Like, for example, after that would cue like a cutscene of Mouse probably walking to the other side of you or whatever, and then following you. And then when you got out of that cutscene and thus that dialogue, he'd be following you around. And so, yeah, that's an example of how cues would be used. That's actually used. Can I skip to an earlier part of the story? I don't think I can. But when you first recruit Max, he's right across the road in this other area and blocking you from going to the Fox Chase. When you recruit him, the end of that conversation triggers a cutscene. And, of course, when we caught the fox in the first place, we technically actually talked to Max automatically, and that triggered a cutscene. So, yeah, there's some features of the dialogue system that already existed, and there's that one that I just talked about, dialogue branching, that I implemented. And so, yeah, I've got the same framework that I had already, which was, I have to admit, pretty well designed. I'm actually glad that I actually made myself make it good when I first worked on this. And of course, we've also got some extensions to the framework that I just made, and one more that I have left to do, specifically regarding the way the text system works. Okay, maybe you noticed that the D in decide was on the top of that line, but as the rest of the word filled in, it got put to the second line. That doesn't look good. So that's the next thing I'm going to be doing, is updating the text system to not do that. Then once I have that, this is the part where I talk about my plan. My plan is to not just keep working on this, keep implementing stuff with, aimlessly with no plan. I'm going to work on coming up with some gameplay that is fun. I'm going to make sure that the first thing that is in this game before I move on to even like a story is going to be fun gameplay. Like things that are fun to do. Like fun puzzles and stuff. Voice crack, sorry. Fun puzzles and fun mechanics. And then once I have that, we'll have that planned out. I'm gonna try and implement it, see if it's really fun. Maybe go through a few iterations of that. Then once I finally have the game playing in a fun way, it is only then that I'll actually start working on building the world, and then after that, working on the story. So that I can ensure that this game is going to be fun, and not just a walking around and talking to people simulator with some weird, just unrelated game mechanics sprinkled in, which is kind of what it started to turn out to be. Like the Fox Chase and the Fox Battle are both really random, but the Fox Chase in particular and the battle in particular, I designed them with specific goals in mind. Like, the Fox Chase was a puzzle designed using a puzzle design philosophy that I've come up with for this game, which is basically, it's got to be intuitive. You got to be able to take one look at it, or maybe watch its behavior for a little while, and be able to know, or be able to formulate what you have to do to solve it. And then the battle was part of a battle philosophy, or following a battle philosophy that I came up with. And that philosophy is, you gotta be, it may seem like the boss is invulnerable at first, but you've got to be able to watch its behavior and watch how it responds to what you do in order to formulate the way to actually beat it. It's not just something that's full of a lot of health that just takes a long time to kill. That's how the bosses were in the actual browser games, and I didn't like that. So there's actually got to be some thinking and strategy involved in this, and not just brute force in the bosses. So those are two of the principles that I've already established for this game, and I'm going to build on those and maybe formulate some new ones to come up with some gameplay mechanics that are fun, and maybe even relating to the party mechanic. If I'm going to actually make it a full party mechanic, it's going to be a really simple one. Just really basic. I want the game to be simple, easy to learn, and even though it's easy to learn, I want it to be fun, first and foremost. The story, since it's just meant to be goofy, can come second. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. I have a feeling it's probably gotten pretty long by now. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.